Hey y'all, have you ever been told that you're too sensitive? Well, guess what? You more than likely have a superpower. That's how I like to refer to it because it's true. Highly sensitive people, I'll speak from my experience. I've always been a very sensitive person. I am able to empathize with people, to feel their feelings. I can come into a room and feel the energy, whether that be good or bad. I the biggest thing that I feel, I can feel tremendous sadness, the weight of the emotion. I It can overcome me at times, and as a sensitive person, I have to be very, very careful of what I expose myself to. That I have to be careful of the energies that I'm around. I have to be careful of just so much. And I didn't always know this. I knew that I was sensitive because people would be like, "Hey, you're so sensitive," or and make it seem like a bad thing. And so for years, I've always tried to just kind of like harden up and essentially be something that I'm not. At the end of the day, I'm a huge softie. If somebody's crying, I'm crying with them. If they're happy, I'm happy with them. Whatever. Like, that's just me. That's who I am. And so for so many years, I just tried to be like this really hard, gruff person, like, oh, just big meanie from New York City, yada, yada, yada. And yeah, I'm a little sharp sometimes, but at my core, I'm definitely my my girlfriend, she called me a sour patch kid, and I think that that's kind of a perfect descriptor when I'm looking at it, because it's like that sweet and sour side. Like, I can be like, eh, but then at once you get past all the sourness, it's like, oh, so sweet and yummy and tasty. But anyway, that's me wrapped up in a nutshell in terms of my sensitivity and trying to be something outside of that. But over the past few years, I have come to a point where I've learned to not only work on it and no, like, I've come to work on it and I've come to embrace it. And I've come to a point where now I'm actively making it work for me. And I wanted to reach out because I know that there are so many people in the world who feel isolated, who feel alone. They're like, "Oh my gosh, like, why does everything affect me this way? Why does it seem like I can't let go of things? Why does it seem like, you know, I feel so much more than the next person? Why am I crying over here? Just simply being around somebody who has all of this grief on them, and everybody else is just, like, around this person, and everything is okay." I want to let you know that you're not alone. We're all out here and we're all trying to figure it out. And I think that we try to hide. And when we try to hide, we come off as these, like, moody, sensitive, harsh, snappy, rough people. And really, all that is a hardening of our heart and a minimizing of the gift. Being sensitive is not a curse, it's a gift. Being able to relate to somebody. Now, I'll say this, and you tell me if, in the comments, you tell me if this resonates with you. Are you more of a small group one on one person, or do you prefer crowds and being in crowds. Me, I am definitely a small group one-on-one person. I'm more of a one-on-one person than anything else. I like my preference is me and you, and then like me and like three other people, and then it just kind of gets bigger from there. My least favorite thing to do is be in a crowd of a gang of people because it makes me tired just being exposed to all the different energies. I pick it up really easily, and it makes me tired, and I don't want to be tired. I have four children that I have to tend after, so I'm very strategic about how and when I am out. So I want to, number one, let you know that, you're not alone. There are more of us out here, and we're out here. I know I'm out here finally embracing that I am sensitive, and it's cool. It's good. So here are some tips that you can utilize in order to kind of minimize the drain that comes with being a sensitive person. So one, recognizing and knowing what energy is yours and what energy is someone else's. And so when I talk about energy, I talk about emotions, things of that nature. I mentioned a little bit earlier walking into a room and immediately feeling what's going on. Think about when you go to a wake, a funeral, regardless of what your eyes are seeing, when you walk into that room, if you were to walk into that room and your eyes were closed, right? Like the only sense that you had was just you and what you feel in that moment. You would pick up heavily on what's going on. That is energy. When you walk into another space, like let's say a creative space, and everybody's just kind of like drawing and, in their creative moment, and you were to walk into that room and you were blindfolded, you would feel that energy. It would not feel like the energy of the wake, of the funeral, right? So that's what I mean when I'm referring to energy. So understanding energy and knowing what energy is yours and what's not is going to be key to helping you be able to master your emotions. Because a lot of times we can come across somebody and pick up their energy and carry it as our own. You can come into contact with somebody who is really happy, and maybe you're not. Maybe you're having a bad day, something has happened, but you're with this person and oh my gosh, they are just thrilled to be alive, and living is the best thing since sliced bread, and just the air is amazing and supercharged, and being around this person makes you feel alive with them. It makes your mood boost. You feel better after being with that person. Well, what you've done is you've taken on some of that person's energy simply by being around them, and it has made you feel better. The same is true when you come in contact with somebody who is negative, somebody who is in a bad mood, somebody who, like, this person is an energy drainer. You have your energy builders or your energy givers, and you have your energy drainers. If you come in contact with an energy drainer, you may later on in the day be snappy. You might feel argumentative. You don't feel as good as you did before you came in contact with this person. And you may not necessarily even know that coming in contact with this person is what gave your mood a complete 180, because sometimes energy just kind of changes over time. So it might take a little while for your energy to drain, but being around this person has drained your energy. So being aware of what your energy is when you're at neutral and being able to protect from taking on other people's energies is going to be key for people like us, right? So, how do you do that? How do you protect your energy? How do you ensure that you don't take on anybody else's energy? You spend time with yourself. And I don't mean spending time watching TV or reading books or things of that nature. I mean spending time with yourself, journaling, asking questions, just sitting, being quiet, being still, maybe listening to meditative music that, gets you to a point of just baseline, just level, music with no words, things of that nature. So that way you know how you feel when you are just alone and by yourself and at peace, right? Because then when you get to that point where you understand who you are energetically and what you typically feel like, then you will be aware of when you come in contact with an energy that might be draining to you or that might be boosting to you. So that's going to be probably the biggest thing, is understanding your own energy by being alone with yourself, with your thoughts, meditating, doing whatever workout, stretching, working out, just being in your thoughts, processing your thoughts, recognizing when your thoughts are negative and positive, asking yourself questions. Well, what's causing that? Why am I thinking this way? Going deep into some of the beliefs that you might have in regard to certain thought processes, tackling these things, all of it works together to fully understand who you are as a person. And it doesn't happen overnight. You're not gonna just one day wake up and be like, oh, like I'm good now. I've tackled being super sensitive and like I don't take on anybody's energy. Yet like it's a total process. I'm still in process, and I'm not where I want to be yet, but I've done enough work to know that what I am doing now is totally helping. The other thing is making sure that you're standing up for yourself. One thing about sensitive people, we can question ourselves. We can doubt what it is that we're feeling because we've been told, "Oh, you're doing too much. You're too this. You're being dramatic." And over time you internalize that and you start to question who you are. But there's a reason why we feel the way that we feel. There's a reason why we feel it so deeply, why we feel it so regularly, right? There's something that is trying to alert us to something. And if you if those alerts pop up and then you quiet them and you push them down, then over time you're doing yourself a disservice because your alarm system is not going to work as well. It's kind of like when you have a smoke detector, right? And you have the battery in there and it's fine. And then it starts chirping, right? And you're like, oh my gosh, like I need to charge the battery. I need to change the battery. But you don't. You just let it chirp and chirp and chirp. And then over time, you become desensitized to the chirp, right? You don't hear it. Other people hear it. It's annoying, but you no longer hear it. You've become used to it. And you've desensitized yourself to the alarm, right? Some people even go as far as to take the battery out so that it doesn't chirp anymore. Like you're totally disabling your alarm system. And that is what happens with sensitive people. We minimize the alert. We minimize the warning that something is going on, and we become desensitized to it, or we just shut it off completely. And what that does is it makes you rely on external influences, external people to tell you how you're feeling internally. There is nobody outside of you that can tell you what you're feeling internally because everybody is wired differently. Everybody has different DNA. There are no two DNA strands that are the same between people. Even twins, identical twins don't even have the same DNA. So going to seek externally from somebody to tell you about what you're feeling internally, it's not going to work. But that's what sensitive people do because we have, not everybody, but a lot of us have been conditioned to feel like we're being too, right? Too. So get rid of that. Don't do that. When you start to feel what you're feeling and you have to challenge it, especially if you're used to pushing it down. You have to challenge it and you have to ask yourself, well, why am I feeling like this? What just happened or what's happening? Excuse me. All of a sudden I'm getting congested. What happened or what's happening that is causing this? And then you have to sit with it because the answer may not come immediately. But this is where a journal comes in, right? Write it down. At this time, at this day, I was feeling this. And you don't have to necessarily seek the answer in that moment. But what this is doing is it's training you to be able to ask yourself the questions that you need to ask in order to better understand who you are. And the journal is giving you a written record of what's going on. And so over time, if you're consistent with journaling, you begin to identify patterns. Well, I start feeling like this when these things happen. What's the correlation? And then you can think. And so being able to do this distraction free or with minimal distractions, even your phone. My phone in my notes, I have so many notes. Like I'll just randomly drive and something will hit me. I don't like, because a lot of times we're thinking things at a subconscious level, right? When you're thinking subconsciously, like daydreaming, just, you could be listening to something on the radio or a podcast or whatever, but then your mind is doing something. And then all of a sudden your mood has gone from high to low or from low to high. When you see a drastic change in your energy levels, ask yourself, what has happened? What occurred that made me change my energy level so drastically? That is key. So, one, understanding what your energy levels, what your energy is, how you feel just by yourself and understanding that without any external influences. And also asking yourself the questions of why, what has happened, who, what, where, when, and why. I think that those are the questions that we learn in elementary school, and they apply to so many different things in our life. And in this area, with us being as sensitive as we are, they are very helpful. Get yourself a journal, ask yourself your questions, and understand and know that you are not alone. You have a superpower, and when you tap into it and when you develop it, your intuition has a way to guide you in a way that, yeah, your intuition has a way to guide you into your purpose, essentially. So I'm gonna leave it at that. I hope that this was helpful for you. I am thrilled to be able to share, and I just really hope that this was helpful because for so many years I struggled and put myself down about being sensitive. But when you channel it, when you use it constructively, when you're able to manage it, life changes. So hope this is helpful. Talk with y'all soon. Bye.